So I'm not really okay, and I'm not gonna be okay for a while, but I'm working on it, so please don't worry too much. In the meantime, it would be really nice to have something cute and cuddly to help me through while life is hard. Usually I turn to Nutella for my emotional support cuddling needs, but even though she's a cuddle bug, even Nutella has her limits. So I've decided to hop on the train of getting an emotional support chicken. Ideally, it would be fun to chase down and catch my own live one, but maybe in the interest of my ankles and that poor chickens that could be chased by me, instead, I'm going to knit myself the emotional support chicken and maybe some duck friends. Recently, when I was feeling quite ill, I watched the video from Claude of Retro Claude, where she knit her own emotional support chicken and was inspired to make her own vintage duck version as well. And I thought, I want to make myself those friends too. So I started by knitting myself an emotional support chicken. My emotional support chicken is done, I wanted to make a vintage duck friend for it, just like Claude did. While Claude has an original vintage pattern for the duck that she knit, I don't have one of those, so I looked around online and I think I actually found a different pamphlet, but it's the exact same pattern, or it looks really, really similar. It's also called Douglas the Duck to what Claude knit, and I find that one really, really cute. But since she's already done that one and I found a few other patterns that we could do, I thought I would do a slightly different one. And I found this incredibly cute duck family. The mama duck really reminds me of Jemima, what is it? Yeah, Jemima Puddle Duck from Peter Rabbit. She probably couldn't be called that due to copyright reasons, so instead of calling her Jemima Puddle Duck, I'm gonna call her Miss Cuddle Duck. I feel very, very witty for coming up with that name. Similarly to my emotional support chicken, I'm gonna go back to my kind of odds and ends basket of yarns, and I have picked out very, very thin, so I'm gonna hold 3 strands together because they're very thin what I have. It's 2 strands of a baby alpaca and 1 strand of like this camel colored cashmere. The baby alpacas are 2 balls of yarn that a friend gave me that she's never going to knit with, so she gave it to me thinking I might find something to do with it, and the cashmere is from an unraveled sweater. So that's what I'm going to use for the main body. She's going to be so soft. I'm so excited. Now, the emotional support chicken has really, really interesting shaping. You really only have to knit a few large pieces together for the body. It's all done with short row shaping, and then you have the main body finished and you sew that up together with like a flat shaping portion for the belly and bottom area so that she can kind of sit on her underside. The duck, however, is not really constructed in the same way. It is a right side and a mirrored left side, and then you sew that together with like a heavy weight or a cardboard piece that you're supposed to put in the bottom. But I'm not really wanting to do that because I want it to be fluffy and squishy throughout. I don't want there to be something heavy or rigid in the bottom of that. So I'm going to take inspiration from the emotional support chicken construction and make a bottom piece for my duck. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much to all of the really kind comments on my last video after I mentioned that I was having a bit of a tough time. That was really sweet and very appreciated. And I also appreciate that, you know, it's okay if I keep it a little bit private, and I'm not very good at acting and pretending everything's okay. So I appreciate that you are all understanding about me making some of these videos, because this is really my, like, this is my form of self-care, is both fiber crafting and video making, and maybe not being like super peppy about it, but you know, reflecting how I really feel currently and what's going on. And like I said, I appreciate all of the comments. They really were wonderful to read. It's tough for now. It's being worked on, so it will get better, but it's just sometimes you have to go through it to get past it. So it's gonna take a little time, but it is improving. So we'll get there. We'll get through it. I am just finishing up the last little appendages of my duck, of Miss Cuddle Duck. Here are a lot of pieces, details laying on the rest. So let me finish these pieces off, just the last 3 to go, and then we have to press them in order to sew them together. So I want to start connecting the pieces together to see what kind of base that we have to put on Miss Cuddle Duck, and what eyes to use and things like that. So I guess I'll see you as I'm pressing these things and starting to assemble it slightly, and we'll see how we finish off Miss Cuddle Duck, what that's gonna look like. Okay, so I've started to sew together Miss Cuddle Duck here, and her head is like weirdly pointed at the top. I'm hoping that with some stuffing it'll even out. There is a gusset on Mama Duck at the head here, but it's not clear at all exactly how to attach it to the head. On the emotional support chicken pattern, it's like really well laid out in the pictures where you put the gusset, but the part of the head that has the gusset in the illustration, or like the picture in the vintage pattern, is covered by a bonnet. So I'm wondering if you don't, it seems like you're not even intended to see the head, but I want to make the bonnet and the shawl removable bits of her outfit. So I don't know, I guess I'll leave it as is for now, and I'm hoping that with the way that I stuff it, I can kind of make it a little less pointy. At this point though, the neck and some of the back is done, and so I think I might stuff the head and neck up to where I can to start to get an idea of exactly how to do the bottom surface. But I don't know exactly, because it feels like this duck is going to be very front heavy, so I just want to stuff it first and see if I can like mock up the size and shape of the bottom that I need before I spend the time knitting it and sewing it together and it doesn't work. So hopefully I can figure out what works before that. So let me stuff it and do some trials, and I'll get back to you. I don't think this shape is going to work at all. It looks so weird. I think my best bet is to undo the stitching that I did around here and instead sew it so that it's a little bit more rounded off at the top. I don't even know if I'm going to put in the gusset, to be honest. I don't know that I need the gusset if I round it off at the top. I don't know 100% what the purpose is of the gusset at the top of the head, because the baby ducks, I looked ahead at the baby duck patterns and they don't have the gusset. So I might just remove it completely, and yeah, this is not a duck. This is not a cute duck, at least. Let me go fix this. Okay, I fixed Miss Cuddle Duck. I think her head looks so much better. Of course, she's missing her beak and her wings and everything. I just wanted to make sure that the general shapes were good. Now, in terms of the bottom of Miss Cuddle Duck here, I've tried stuffing her to various levels of thickness and heights, and I found that this works the best. She's balanced when I put her down. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this opening and make it a little bit more even onto a sheet of paper, and then I'm going to knit to match that shape of the sheet of paper. Does that make sense? It's kind of like the bottom flat gusset for her to sit on. And hopefully that means that she sits nice and upright. And I have to add the rest of the details. But yeah, first let me get the bottom and I will see you after that. I'm pretty tired, so I'm probably just gonna do a fast forward cut to when she's sitting upright on our bottom. It worked beautifully. I'm so happy about this. She's so cute, my little Miss Cuddle Duck, and I don't know. I didn't think it would work as well as it did, and it's just really nice to see something that I'm working on coming together and working out. It's nice when things work. So she, first of all, has floppy feet when you hold her, which is so cute, and then when you sit her down, look at how adorable she is. I absolutely love it. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is, of course, I have to trim her strands, and I have to make her little ducklings, which I'm really excited about. I think I'm only gonna make 2, 3 would be cute, but my hands are a little tired from I used pretty small needles to do this, so my hands are getting a little tired. So I need to give them a break. So I'm just gonna do 2 ducklings, and what I've decided to do actually is to use a strand of mohair for the ducklings, because I feel like whenever I look at pictures of ducklings or the ones I've seen in real life, they're so like fuzzy and fluffy. They have that little baby fluff. So I want to mimic that a little bit. The baby ducklings are made very similarly to Mama Duck. They have basically all the same parts except for the head gusset, but I didn't even use the head gusset for Miss Cuddle Duck. Let's knit those and finish my little army of emotional support birds. So all of the ducklings are really, really cute. I'm happy with how they came together. I just finished knitting the shawl. I was on the fence of whether or not to do a bonnet, but the shawl turned out a little not wide enough, so I have to tie it pretty high on her neck, which doesn't really allow for a bonnet to be tied under her chin at the moment. So this will be her only accessory. So let's put this on her, and I will show you my entire emotional support birds collection that I've made now. I think some groups of animals have some really fun names for the group of them. Like a group of owls is called a parliament or a school of fish. What is a group of emotional support avians? My avian armada. What do you guys think? Let me know. I had a lot of fun knitting these. They're so fun to cuddle, and the messages that I got from you all in my last video were so wonderful. They really put a smile on my face. Thank you so much. And now I have these lovely little ducklings and chicks to cuddle and snuggle and smile about. So thank you so much for watching. I know there's many ways that you could be spending your time, and I appreciate that you decided to spend it a little bit with me. And if you enjoy things like this, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye.